Hello. No, can it be a trick involving government and military? I don't know.
Is the UK building out a citizen army? They started to say that last week. Now, a new plan seems like they have a way to trick young kids into the military after they finish secondary school, or what we would call high school in the United States. According to the Daily Mail, military officials have suggested this idea of a course over the summer holidays, giving young adults a taste of service in the military, kind of like a boot camp. The worry is that once they do this, they are considered former military members. And according to the Daily Mail, that would give the defense secretary powers to recall them in case of a great emergency, which we are constantly sold everything as a great emergency. Joining us to discuss it is Jim Ferguson. He is a former parliamentary member, also the founder of Freedom Train International. Thank you so much for joining me. Do you think that I am being panicked here, or does this, in fact, seem like a trick to get young kids into the military?
My pleasure being here. Thanks, Natalie. No, I don't think you're worrying unnecessarily at all. I think we all should be very concerned about this. Look, I come from a long line of military service, and ordinarily, a proposal like this would be something that I would support because the British military, in particular, is one of the finest militaries in the world. They have fantastic discipline and training, and it's a great way for young people to go in and learn new skills. But that's not what is the purpose behind this. We know for a fact that our government, although they're called the Conservative Party or the Conservative government, they are not conservative at all. In fact, they are a globalist entity that are serving globalist interests. And I warned a number of months ago that I was concerned about the moves being made to potentially conscript young people. And unfortunately, that's now played out. This is part of a bigger globalist agenda. The war drums are beating loudly, Natalie, and you're quite
Stay till the end. I got some questions for you if you're from the UK or know people from the UK.
part of a bigger globalist agenda. The war drums are beating loudly, Natalie, and you're quite correct to highlight this article from the Daily Mail. They're also quite correct in what they're saying. Once young people go into that, they then can be drafted in very, very quickly and sent to fight the Russians, which is what I think they're proposing to do.
Right. The way they're selling it is like, hey, it's just summer camp. Like, just come after you finish high school. Just come and get a taste. See if you like it. Right. But oh, now you have a military service number. Now we know who you are and where you're going to go next. In Russia, they do impose military education in primary school, but that is part of their culture. So if the UK wants to sell this as something that, is part of a culture, you need a whole cultural buy-in. You can't just, push this in under low military conscription. Why do you think military enrollment is so low in the UK right now?
Well, you just need to look at how they treat military veterans. Many of them are homeless, suffering from PTSD. They're left on the streets, whilst millions of migrants are given four-star class hotels and handouts and free mobile phones. They have no interest in looking after our military. The other thing that's very disturbing in all of this, though, is that the German defense minister recently called for conscription. And what we're actually witnessing, I believe, in the UK are globalist entities and sellouts like David Cameron, Richie Sunak, Jeremy Hunt, who are now enacting German defence policy here in the UK.
What?
And there is deep concern, indeed, from your channel that I was on yesterday. It's been watched by quite a number of people within the defence establishment. And I've been contacted by somebody who has passed some information to me. Whether simply can't reveal the source, and whether it's absolutely 100% true, I cannot verify at this stage. But there is back channel communications going on that would suggest that Ursula von der Leyen and the EU Commission have now taken command and control of French nuclear weapons. If that is true, that is extremely serious and deeply alarming. And also, we know that through PESCO and military integration, Theresa May already agreed when she was Prime Minister to hand over command and control of British nuclear weapons. The British Army, the Royal Navy, the Royal Air Force, our intelligence apparatus being MI5, MI6, our listening post at Cheltenham, GCHQ, and control of our policing to the EU. Now, I want to say
Whoa.
something, Natalie, because we have in this country something called the National Security Act. And it's very, very heavy in that if any person in government, even a serving British Prime Minister, who breaks the code of the National Security Act, where they are working for a hostile foreign power, whatever that might be, to the detriment of British people, or that causes harm knowingly or unknowingly to the British people, is at risk of being prosecuted by criminal prosecution because it's effectively treason. It's in my opinion that Richie Sunak and many members of his cabinet have already broken the National Security Act. And what they are doing is enacting German defence policy here now in the United Kingdom. They are following a globalist control command centre that is not in the interests of the British people. We don't want to go to war, but we are being led there by those that are selling Britain short. And it will. It's the head of MI6, the head of MI5, the head of the London Metropolitan Police, or somebody in that structure that has the, shall we say, the courage to take this on and run with it. Because the other big worry is that those people that's leading those particular institutions may indeed be compromised as well. The infiltration runs deep, and it's deeply concerning.
Right. Well, thank you for your perspective on this. I always appreciate it. You can follow Jim Ferguson UK on X. He always has a great perspective, and especially as the war drums continue to get louder, again, under the auspices of emergency. So thanks again for coming on Redacted.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. Bye-bye for now.
I really hoped you enjoyed.
You know, if I'm gonna watch stuff like this, I probably should have my little legal pad so I can take notes, because all of a sudden I got a bunch of questions and hopefully I can remember them. I was trying to retain them, which kind of made it hard to come up with further questions. In no particular order: drafting, which I guess you could call conscription, education, conservatives, and globalism. In no particular order, does the UK not already have a drafting system like we have in the United States, where when you're an adult male, you have to register, and then if shit hits the fan, you get called up? Does the UK not already have a system like that? And if they do, then why is it necessary to trick people into being previous military members? Would you call those previously enlisted up first before the draftees? Second, education. There are a lot of things in life that are tied to education and changing rates of things, one of which can be military service. When people have more opportunities, a lot of times they will not turn to the military. If you're in America, there's definitely studies been that in places where there's low economic opportunity, you're kind of always just stuck doing the same thing, there's only the same couple of jobs, that a lot of people will turn to military service because it does give you the opportunity to develop yourself, learn a bunch of valuable skills, and then be able to escape that cycle of economic poverty. What's the other one? Conservatism. It is my understanding, a very poor understanding, but it is my understanding that in the UK, the conservatives are conservative relative to UK standards, but they're actually more progressive than our conservatives over here. Just curious if that's true. And the last one is the globalist Illuminati stuff. So there's a lot of that prevalent here as far as conspiracies and wondering what's happening and figuring out like who's in control and who's doing what, and some people believe in it and some people don't. Is that also something taking place in the UK, where there's this idea that a lot of foreign actors are actually responsible for things happening in your political parties, and that in some sense all of the parties are somehow being manipulated and controlled by foreign entities with lots of money and power? Or is this all just a bunch of malarkey? Is this whole thing just not even like real? It's just being blown out of proportion because it's just it's the news cycle. People got to make news articles. People like me got to watch videos like that. I mean, we don't have to, right? But it's just kind of what we do. People do music, sports, politics, money, sex, scandals. That's kind of always the thing that attracts attention. Don't let them trick you.